How's it going? I just woke up. I'm late. I know. I'm late. I'm late. I've been late. Why did this do that? All right. How are you guys doing? Chun, thank you. You didn't have to, but I appreciate it. Thank you for the. Oh man! Thank you for the biddies. Thank you for the biddies. What's the plan for today? So, last night I spent a good amount of time trying to figure out what I want to do, what I want to make, and I have a lot of information put together for a concept of what I want, but I did also find somebody who made a video on how to do some of this.
Let's talk source control. If you already know what it is and you're using one...
Come on. Alright. Let's get into it. Let's start it up. Well, that's not what that's supposed to be. What the hell? That's fine. Alright. So the whole point, right, is I need to figure out what exactly we're going to be making here. Let me turn the music down a bit. We'll have it at like a 5 in the background. Should be able to be heard right there. Alright. Let's see. I left off in this video right here.
The last thing
basically what he did is he showed this is what I did last night. I jotted down a lot of the concepts for the project, and then this guy was showing how to have like version control. So like as you make updates, as you make changes, how do you keep track of it all? So I had to basically set up a server and all that jazz.
In this video is the gitignore file, which we're going to use to prevent us from sending useless files to the server. So let's open the file to see what's in it. Open in Notepad. Here we go. We can see that there's a ton of stuff in it. But we actually don't need any of that, because it's not what we need in an Unreal context. So I'm just going to select everything, delete and save. So now the gitignore file is empty. And to show you how it works, we're finally going to create our Unreal project. So let's open Unreal. Now that Unreal is open, I'm going to create a new game project. So select Games and click Next. I'm not going to use any of the templates because I want to start the project from scratch. So I'm going to select blank. Click Next. Then those settings are already good. It's going to be a blueprint project for desktop, maximum quality is good, no starter content, and ray tracing disabled. As for the path, I'm going to use the same path that we used to create our repo. So I'm going to copy this and paste it there. And for the name of the project, I'm going to name it so Tactical Tutorial. There we go. And click on Create Project. Let Unreal open. Here we go. We can now minimize it. If we go back in source tree and go in file status, we see that there's a ton of files, like a ton of files. But we don't really have all those files in our project. Actually, we do, but we don't need them. The only files that matter are the 4 here, the uproject file and the config files. I'm going to stage them. All these other files here are files that are generated by Unreal, and they're going to be generated every time. Modified, deleted, added again. So we don't want that. We don't want to track any of that. We don't need any of that. So we don't want that here.
What did he save it to? What the?
So and start the project already good. It's going. I'm not going to use any of the templates because I want to start the project from scratch. So I'm going to select blank, click next. Then those settings are already good. It's going to be a blueprint project for desktop. Maximum quality is good, no starter content, and ray tracing disabled. As for the path, I'm going to use the same path that we used to create our repo. So I'm going to copy this and paste it there. And for the name of the project, I'm going to name it so tactical tutorial. There we go. And click on create project. Let Unreal open. Here we go. We can now minimize it. If we go back in source tree and go in file status, we see that there's a ton of files, like a ton of files. But we don't really have all those files in our project. Actually, we do, but we don't need them. The only files that matter are the four here. The uProject file and the config files. I'm going to...
I love people who do tutorials. They move so fast. That's exactly what I want, you know? I know why they do it. It just makes me angry. Okay. Okay, let's go here. There we go. We're gonna put it... Where the hell is the folder? There it is. There we go. So that's good. We got this. All right, we've named it. Now, it should let me do the thing, right? Right. Good. What kind of game do you want to make? So I spent all night last night. Also, hello, by the way. Welcome to the stream. I spent all night last night when I got home, which is why I'm streaming late today, because I fucking woke up late. I thought up some ideas for what I want to make, and I kind of already had a feeling of what I wanted. But, hold on 1 second. There we go. Yeah, nothing is set in stone yet, so. Uh-oh. Is it gonna crash again? Oh, I should have resized it before I did anything. Oh, I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. I knew it. Oh. If I try to resize it at that point, for some reason it just does not like it. Damn, it even crashed my even it crashed my fucking Opera, bro. RPGs are always cool. Well, it's not gonna be an RPG. That's for sure. I'm not a crazy fan of RPGs. It's not that I don't like them. I just it's just not my thing. Hold on. What the hell? Why was it? What the? Bro, stop crashing on me. Are you serious? There's no way. I'm about to crash out, bro. All I'm trying to do is resize the fucking window. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Come on. You do viewer suggestions? I will do that. I will do that once I if I can get this to fucking work, man. If I can get this to work. There we go. Alright, you know what? I'm just not gonna fuck with it. I'm not gonna fuck with it. I'm not gonna fuck with it. We're gonna leave it as it is right now. And just have that be what it is. Okay. Alright. Let's get going. You want to get a steady base first, obviously? Yes. Yes, we will be doing that. We're gonna be getting everything together. And also, that starts now. So, we're gonna talk about some of the stuff that I had. Alright. Some of the ideas that I had. I got all the files here from when I was jotting it all down. I was at work yesterday and I was writing down a whole bunch of stuff throughout the night, and then I got home and I tried to put it all in something relatively cohesive, you know. Let's see. Why is this being dumb? What? Okay. So, whether you know it or not, because you probably don't know it, I am what the fuck? Why did that open? Am a big fan of strategy games. I love strategy games. And I feel like a strategy game, especially a turn-based strategy game, is not going to be too crazy. It's not going to be like a turn-based RPG or anything, so there's not going to be a bunch of those elements. But imagine something along the lines of like Civilization or like Endless Legend. If you ever played any of those games, that's what I am thinking of. It's what I want to do. But I want to do a few different things. Let's see. So the game, you could make it make your own lore too. Yeah, so that was something that I thought would be cool to have chat kind of help me with. So let me go through some of the info, right? Let me just go through some of the info. And I am completely open to ideas and suggestions, etc. from chat. You can do that. That's cool. So, and this is just something that I finally got around to. Like, I sat down and finally got around to it last night. So, turn-based strategy game. It's gonna be inspired by like Civ, Endless Legend, right? That's kind of like, I personally love Endless Legend a little bit more than maybe Civ, but there's nothing wrong with it. Hey, Op, welcome to the stream, my man. Right now, I'm talking over some of the ideas for the game. If you'd like to, I'm open to ideas as far as fleshing it out. I think the core base stuff that I have is all going to be stuff that I want to keep for now, which is always subject to change in the future. But we basically, all of the stuff that I'm about to go over is what's going to, for now, right, is what I kind of want in the game. But the some of the more in-depth details, I'm thinking I might have Twitch chat work with me on. Maybe we can kind of flesh it out and make it kind of, you know, more than just my project. You know what I mean? But yeah. So, would it be fantasy or more of a modern style? It would probably be, because we're using Unreal Engine 5, it could probably be more of a modern style, but it's gonna, as far as like what I imagine the art style to be, I actually want it to be completely different depending on the faction that you choose, because again, it's gonna be a civ like or like you know like Civilization, but the problem is that a lot of times in games like this, civs tend to be um pretty copy paste. They just kind of have a different coat of paint to help differentiate between them. So what we're gonna do is oh, hold on, let me let me go back through it. And while it may be inspired Recreate Japan, I will be recreating Japan in a sense. I'll go over that actually. Give me a second. So like one faction is steampunk, one faction is regular fantasy stuff and all that. Kind of. Okay, so hold on. Let's pause. So I like the way that Civ plays. What I don't like is there is not as much of a focus on diplomacy. Diplomacy in strategy games like this gets to be kind of scattered or kind of bare bones. So not much happens with it, right? What I want is there to be a VoIP system. I want a VoIP system that can be utilized to interact with other factions, and you have like the whole point of the game is to get you to be diplomatic, to work with other people or work against the people. You can lie to them, and it adds a very human element to everything. That it helps kind of like put the game together. Plus, because I'm not like an intense developer or anything, I feel like it's something that I could reasonably do. It's a lot like Crusader Kings, a little bit. So like, the most of the game is gonna take place in a single room. You're gonna be in one room, or like a bunker or like a war room or something. But it's gonna be so it'll be in like first person, right? You can walk around, interact with stuff, because I hate how UIs look in Civ likes. I want to make it to where like maybe you have a massive fucking monitor or computer on one side that has all of the basic information, like what happened in the turn, or what happened here, or what happened there. But it'll have all of the information that you can look at a glance, and then there's going to be a table in the middle of the room, which will be like a war room table, right? And that'll be where the hex grid pattern lives, and that'll have all of the information as far as like where everything is. So I don't need to have an extremely high quality extremely high quality models or anything like that. It helps me kind of streamline it until I get like, if I get to a point where like maybe I can implement some nicer things like that, then cool. But as far as a proof of concept, I think it'll help make my life a little bit easier and help me stay on track. That way I'm not trying to do anything that's too over the top and ends up burning me out, and then I never move on. Okay. So some of the things I was thinking of is, so here was a couple of ideas of how the game would progress. You'd start off, you'd have your basic troops, just like any other civ like, right? Your basic like 1 or 2 units, and you can't leave. You cannot leave. Like, you cannot leave the bunker. Technically speaking, there could be a thing where like, maybe if you do leave with your troops or something, you get like an extra buff or something happens, right? And then, you know, if you're in the bunker, but if you leave, maybe you can't like do research or something, or whatever it may be. What is it? Oh, yeah. So in the beginning, because all these are different groups and factions, and they don't, you know, speak each other's languages or whatever, they're not going to be able to communicate. So I feel like that makes the beginning of the game, you know, a lot more interesting. Not only do you not know where people are, you don't have a way to communicate with them, right? Because the game's gonna be very communication heavy. Some people may not give a fuck. Yes. Maybe you would have to research translation. See, you are Goot. You are understanding the vision. So you research a translation, right? And I was thinking the progression would work like this. You can't interact with people other than very basic stuff. So like very very basic things. But maybe you could at some point research delegations where you can send people to other factions to go learn a language. And once they do so, then you can have a little bit more interaction with them, right? So now you can start actually talking to them via like, maybe a note or something like that. Like maybe you could finally send messages to them or something. Um, or then, right? Next, you can research. At some point, you should be able to research like a radio or some sort of communication device, which allows you to actually contact another faction. And through contacting them, then you don't have to wait for your delegate to go over to the faction to interact with them and so on and so forth. Different stages of language understanding would be cool too. Yeah, I know. It would be. I think that'd be super fucking cool. Uh, yeah. And then you have to get a manuscript from the faction and research it over time. Yeah. So yeah, you have to basically and of course there could be ways that like as far as the research goes, maybe you play a faction that only cares about killing and you don't give a fuck about diplomacy when it comes to anything, but that also puts you at a disadvantage because that means that other people could communicate against you. So if you are a warmongering individual, then maybe, just maybe, you're kind of fucking yourself over by saying, you know what, let's put my research and my time into other things that aren't diplomatic. Which, there's caveats to everything. I think it would be a really good way to balance it out and also inject a level of human interaction that I don't think has been seen in a strategy game before. And it's not like I have to code all these fucking infinite things that you could do. It can just be word of mouth, which makes it easier, right? Like maybe you choose to make an alliance. So you call up your two fucking alliance members and you get them in like a group call and you're like, hey, how should we do this? What's the plan? What's happening over here? What's happening over there? Like you're still gonna see a map, right? You're still gonna have a hex map, but it's gonna be a little bit different. I think that could be really fucking cool. What do you guys think? What chat, what are we thinking? Different factions being different play styles would be good. Creating factions would be cool too. My boy gone and making a game. I am working on it. We're about to start the project actually. Last time I was kind of just learning how the UI works, which don't get me wrong, I'm probably gonna have to spend some time every now and then going back and forth to try and relearn the UI. Also, hi Batty. Thank you for being here. I love you. You're amazing. But we're going over the core concepts of the game right now. And then I'm gonna ask for some stuff, like background and stuff for the factions. Twitch chat is gonna help kind of flesh out some stuff. We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Let's fucking do it, because it's gonna be I'm so excited. Like you could select the style of the faction and name, or just choose from some pre-made factions. Yes. I feel like that's a pretty common thing where you can customize a faction, but I think we're gonna stick with pre-made factions for now. Maybe that's something we work on in the future. Christy Mag, good afternoon. I will you tab well out. Christy, where'd you come from? You're too kind. You're too sweet to me. I love you guys, man. Thank you so much for dropping by, saying hi. I hope you're having a great day too. So yes. Goot, do me a favor, Goot. Give me make a quick summary of what we've already gone over. For Batty and for Christy or anybody else in chat. I will pin the message if you can make just a quick summary of what I've already explained to you guys. And I'm about to move on to some to the factions and the details involved. Okay. I'm trusting you, Goot. I really am trusting you. Also, Goot, it's official. Boom. Goot is mod! Goot is mod! Congratulations, Goot! It's a real-time strategy game, and it's about diplomacy, and there's different factions, and you can research stuff, and it's super cool. You can hear Matcha. Oh, Matcha's in the background. Yeah. Yeah, I can hear Matcha too, kind of screaming out there. Keenan making an RTS? Never would have imagined. It's not an RTS, it's a turn-based strategy. It's gonna be more like a civil. It's gonna be a civ-like, right? It's gonna be more like Civilization or Endless Legend. There's a character who wants to join your faction and sends you messages about enemy position, but because you can't read it, you ignore his advice and you end up killing him instead. Exactly. Like, I feel like it wouldn't be too hard to have like a preset language, right? Just like a bunch of fucking words, right? We just make a bunch of random fucking words, and then we get a note, right? And like, let's say somebody hasn't researched any ability to understand another language, so they just get a fucking note from a faction, and the system automatically randomizes it, changes all the words in the note, right? Let's say somebody spends time going like, hey, I see you over there, you're really cool, let's hang out on Friday, and then it scrambles and changes all the words, and it's just, and then the person reads it is like, what the fuck is a Gorplix? Huh? What? Before you learn the languages of a faction, it's just scribbles. Exactly. So it's just nonsense. So if you don't spend time paying attention to your language and language abilities, or your ability to engage in diplomacy, then you're just kind of fucking yourself. And then like you get another note 20 different turns later, and it's just like, you never came to hang out with me on Friday. I'm angry. You're gonna die now. And then you still can't read it, and next thing you know, you're surrounded by a bunch of fucking troops. You can have it all be the same gibberish represented by different colored text. You're right. You're so right. Hold on. Write that down. Somebody write that down. Hold on. We're gonna make a new notepad. Hires translator to do the job for us. I mean, but that's the thing, right? So like, let's say, okay, hear me out, right? Let's say that there are 3 factions in a match. One faction is faction 1 is interacting with faction 2, but faction 3 hasn't met faction 1 yet. So what this means, right? Imagine faction 1 and faction 2 are friendly. They're trading, they're interacting, they're enjoying each other, having a great time, but faction 2 is secretly in the background talking to faction 3 because faction 3 and 1 haven't met yet. So faction 2 is like, dude, I'm having such a crazy time trying to handle faction 1. We have to get rid of them. Dude, there's so much deception that could be involved. It'd be so much fun. Finally, chess 2. Dude, I'm working on chess 2. No, I think somebody else is already doing chess 2. They made like they're trying to make like a it's like a battle royale chess game. Deception. Yes. Dude, I would love to be playing a game like that. And this is like, again, this is all just born of the fact that like I love Civilization, I love Endless Legend, but holy fuck, dude, I'm tired of playing the same damn game. And it's not like the diplomacy plays no role. like I like Civ 7, which is apparently a crazy take to have, but Civ 7 just like the diplomacy is so bullshit. And that's the same thing for every single one of these games. Why make it to where they're predetermined things that people have to select and that's like all they can do? Why not make something that is living and breathing? Anyway, oh no, Faction 1, this is just a letter from Faction 3 saying hi. It's so good. I would love to play a game like this. Exactly the passion to put into making one. I look, that's the only reason I'm doing this. I literally am only doing this because it's a game that I want to play. I would and you could intercept couriers. Oh, that would be a good thing, because like in Civ, I know if you have builders or settlers, if like a barbarian tribe or another faction, if they put a unit on your unit that is a builder or a settler and it doesn't have like like an offensive unit to protect it, then they just take the unit. So that's something that could be interesting. You could set people back, because everybody knows that when it comes to like war or anything, right? Information is king. Being able to relay a message back and forth is extremely important. Communication with others, especially in an alliance, is also extremely important. Like, how much of a setback is it that you've sent somebody with a message, but now that they're dead or they've been captured? So now you're set back and you gotta fucking, and first of all, you don't even know if that message was relayed or not, which it's kind of hard to do that in this context. But if they're captured, then you got to go through the whole process all over again if you know that it happened. Anyway, Faction 1 finds out Faction 2's planning to ally with Faction 3. Exactly. And you could have, just like in Civ, you could have spies and people who are like in people's capitals and figuring out information. Maybe, and I want everything to be a tradable commodity. I want people to be forced to trade. I had this idea. Hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, chat, summarize. What were some of the ideas that we just had? Let's summarize what we're at. I'm gonna jot them down real quick, and then we're gonna go into the factions. And let's go into the factions. But somebody help me out here. I have ADHD. I'm lost. What do we got? What are some of the ideas we got? Interception. Delegate interception to slow. Spies within capitals to relay info back to their faction. Preset languages for gibberish in different colors, and then I will put for people who haven't researched languages. There we go. All right. Are we ready? Are you ready for the next step? Side note. I am not a major fan of AI, right? But something that I do want to do, and this will probably be something that I do before I even come close to implementing like multiplayer, I would like there to be a single player version where we can use AI, like a language learning model. And I feel like it's the only good use of AI in a video game that I can immediately think of, right? If you don't have other players to interact with, like if you have another faction that is an AI, it's an AI that's made to play, just like in any other game where a bot is playing them, then the AI can also interact with you and be, yes, it can be the NPC. You know what I'm saying? In a game where it's meant to be all about communication and diplomacy, if you can have someone, if you can have something rather that is actually interacting with you, I feel like that is a perfect, because then it's not just predetermined, it's not predetermined voice lines where they're always going to be saying the same thing or interacting the same way. If you can, if it can be fluid and interact in real time with what is happening in the game, I feel like that's one of the rare cases where AI makes sense. You know? Like if you go up to a faction and you say, if you call them up and you go, hey, fuck you, bitch, and then hang up, then who knows? Maybe that bot is gonna get up in their feels, and then next thing you know, you have an army headed your way. Like who knows? Who knows? Right? I feel like it would give a level of fluidity to that experience that you wouldn't get otherwise, right? And that's just for that example, right? Of course, the main point of the game is to get people to interact with one another, but at least as far as the build goes, like, does this make sense? Do I make sense right now? I can see people playing this. Exactly. Do I make sense right now? I do. And also, side note, in Civilization and Endless Legend, there are minor factions like barbarians that come and beat you down or other stuff like that. Let me ask you this. I had an idea. What if we put Twitch integration in, like Twitch chat integration, and they can make decisions on behalf of the barbarians or the minor faction groups? That would be fucking cool. Guys, it would be so fucking cool. Like I'm not alone in this, right? I'm waiting. Exactly. See? Well, so far we sound like a failing Kickstarter video on YouTube. Hey! Whoa. As far like as ambitious as this sounds, right? The thing is that a lot of these concepts already exist. I've already found a lot of like YouTube videos on people showing how to do it, right? My main thing is that, especially like the bare bones version, it's not going to look pretty. I'm not an artist, I'm not a designer, I'm none of that. So like the way that I'm approaching this is similar to the way that the two original people who worked on Expedition, or who started Expedition 33, the way that they approached it. They didn't know how the fuck to make a game. They kind of opened up Unity or Unreal Engine in the past for a little bit, and then they closed it and then didn't fucking touch it for a long time, and then they tried it again, did the same thing, rinse and repeat. But that's kind of the thought process that I'm going with this. I'm just gonna do what I can. We're gonna slap something together as a proof of concept, and then if we can in the future, maybe I can try and find people who are interested in the project or who want to be a part of it, and then maybe help out or whatever. First prototypes are never pretty, but they wouldn't be prototypes then. Exactly. It's just a proof of concept. It's gonna be like not the best version of what it could be, but I do want to. I have so many fucking people in the server and so many friends who are like artists or they like it. Like I feel like this could be a really cool a really cool community project too. Because I don't know, do people actually like the idea of this? Op, do you like the idea of it? I value your opinion a lot, actually. So like, if you think it's shit, then please speak now or forever hold your peace. Um, everyone is the default cube. You're so right. You're so right. I forgot what the name of the monkey head is in Unity. Anyway, all right. It's officially time. It is officially time. We're gonna get into the factions. All right. I already know what factions I want. Right. I like the concepts, but I don't like those top-down type games myself. That's the thing. It's not gonna be a top-down game for the most part. It's gonna be a first-person game wherein you're like where you are in like a bunker or a room, like a war room or something. I have some ideas on what that's gonna look like or what that's gonna be, but we'll get there here in a bit. But yes, that's what it's gonna be. You're gonna be in a first-person, and whenever you want to interact with the map, then you go over to your table in your room that has the map on it, right? And then you control things from there. But there's going to be different stuff in the room that you need to interact with as well. For example, there'll be like a communication section where you have to go over there. That's how you interact with everybody. I feel like it gives it a little bit more depth than just I'm looking at a map from the top, you know? Because while I love the top-down aesthetic and to an extent, I hate when that's the only thing to look at, and I feel like you could make a lot more things a lot more atmospheric if you do that as well. Every faction has a different style worm. Yes, Goot, you understand the vision. Thank you, Goot. Okay, all right, guys, so I sat down and I thought of a bunch of different ideas for the factions. If anything sounds terribly horrible, you can eat my ass. That's all I can say. You know, just saying. Okay. All right. So, we're gonna have there's gonna be different win conditions, right? Just like there are in any Civ type, yeah. But they are broken down into slaughter, conviction, crimson, and research. Basically, what this means, I feel like a couple of them are pretty self-explanatory. But slaughter is gonna be like your domination win, right? So like kill everybody. Conviction's gonna be diplomacy. Crimson is gonna be like our economic, right? Crimson's gonna be like gold, stuff like that. That's what people use to buy shit. And then research is self-explanatory as well. Now, I spoke with this is something I've been thinking of for a very long time. I was speaking to people forever ago about this idea. So some things that we because initially when I play a game like this, when I play a Civ like owning the world one coconut cell at a time, yes. But when I play Endless Legend, there's one faction that I love, and I do love the idea of it, and it is the Necrophage, which is like a hive mind, right? It's bugs. It's just a bunch of bugs. But I also, anybody who knows me and anybody who has been here for a long time, somebody tell me what type of games are my favorite type of games. Somebody has the answer. I know it. What are my favorite type of game? What's my favorite concept? Maybe something a little interesting in the world building, maybe something a little post-apocalyptic-y. Yes, Chun said zombies. Don't get me wrong, Suba, welcome to the stream. Co-op, you are correct, Op. You are. That's why we're making a diplomacy-based game where you're forced to co-op. Potentially, maybe. You could also just not. You could tell everybody to fuck themselves and kill everyone. But zombies. Also, I will be having some gambling in the game. I've already decided what that's gonna look like. Anime horsewives. Close. Should we? Oh fuck. Should we make an Uma faction? Oh no. Should we make an Uma faction? Oh no. Oh no. DLC. Free DLC. Anyway, a Centaur faction? Yes. Exactly. But okay, so the first faction, and also I'm goofy as shit. So if we I don't know if I'm going to change the names. These are placeholders, but I thought about them for a long time. I like when things are play on words, and I know that sounds goofy as shit, but are you starting from scratch? Do you have experience in this? I have no experience in this. I am starting from scratch. But welcome, Supa, by the way. I'm going over the core concepts of the iGame. Or the iGame? The idea, the game. Also, what up? Not much. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. I just had an idea for a DLC. Minotaurs versus the Centaurs. That's actually kind of cool. Tax money into Uma race ring. Yes! You could gamble on the Umas! The Centaurs are enslaved. And they're only there to serve one purpose. And it's for people to gamble on them racing against each other. There's a neutral party that sells overpriced stat boost. And this could be the guy you could gamble with. Yes! Well, something I wanted to do. I love gambling. But a form of gambling that I really love, that I fell in love with in Japan, and actually Chun knows about this. I love coin pusher games. You know, where there's like 3 levels and they go... I love coin pusher games, right? I want to gamble Crimson on a coin pusher. Do you guys know what I mean? Because it is a form of gambling there too, in Japan. So, they were my favorite game to go play. Let's go gambling. Yes, exactly. Zombies and chess too. You're right. Okay. I'm getting lost. Let's get back on track. All right. So the first faction we have, I wanted zombies. I wanted a hive mind. When I think of zombies, I think of a few different games. I think of Left 4 Dead 2. Was that the one that took place in Louisiana? Yeah. I think it was. I think of Left 4 Dead 2. And because I love... Sorry for stimming you. It's okay. No, I love zombies. I love Louisiana. I grew up there. I wanted kind of like a Louisiana style voodoo kind of vibe for them. The zombies are going to be an undead flesh hive mind. They're going to have a voodoo kind of aesthetic to it, right? Which also apparently means there would be like some French and Haitian aspects to it as well. I do actually work with a couple of people from Haiti, and I do actually have some people that I worked with while in the Navy who are from Haiti as well, so I might ask them for some advice or maybe some input. But zombie gra, exactly. But they're like, their whole thing is to devour and assimilate, and they are meant to try and go for a slaughter or domination kind of thing. Now, something I was thinking of. Also the group faction name for them is the Mather, and I really just thought about that because I was like, hive mother, and then I fucking spelled it weird and I put a space in there. So a placeholder, it could change. I don't know if I like it. I think I like it. The Mather, and you know, I think I could think it would be interesting. Anyway, yeah. So their whole thing is to go for a slaughter win. I think that something I want to do is the Mather cannot engage in diplomacy. I think I want it. I think I want them to not be able to engage in diplomacy. I think that the caveat to this, though, I think the caveat to this is that they can create units by killing other units. So let's say faction 1 is playing as the Mather and faction 2 is playing as another faction. If faction 1 attacks a unit that belongs to faction 2 and kills them, then they basically eat that unit and turn it into their unit. Does that make sense? Do you know me? I am Sletic. Sletic, welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing okay. Almost everybody's on the Twitch side, by the way, but thank you for showing up on YouTube. And I'm dying. Chat, what do we think about the Mather? Give me info. Come on. Feedback time. What are we thinking? Let's flesh it out a bit. Idea: when they take over a unit, the unit becomes a tier lower version, so it's balanced. Okay. Yeah, I can agree with that. Let's do that. The unit that gets taken over is a tier lower for balance. $1,000, bro. 2 hours. What do you mean? Okay. All right. This all sounds very cool, but I have no idea how you want to program and design everything by yourself. So I have a little bit of info as far as coding goes, but the reason I'm using Unreal Engine 5 is because they use the blueprints system, right? So here, let me do this. We'll just do this real quick. We'll do that. Oh, here we go. That's not what I want. Hold on. I don't remember how to do it at this exact second. There's a way for you to, so the blueprint system, give me, because I got like 80 different things in my brain right now. So the blueprint system allows me to kind of subvert having to code. I know I understand a little bit, but I don't understand a lot. But yeah. So it's like a visual representation. So it's a node system. So you use like a box that has certain parameters, and you basically connect it via core. It works kind of like how Blender's node system works, and you just kind of connect things that way. As far as making a game, I know a little bit about a lot of stuff, and I feel like all those things combine to me knowing a little bit, right? So maybe enough to kind of dabble around with things, and I think through the use of like tutorials and stuff like that, that'll help as well. If you save up for a super strong unit for it to turn to another faction is pretty boring gameplay. Well, there would be a level of balance between the numbers and stuff that would, make that a bit more controlled. But I see what you mean. What is your name? My name is Keenan. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, by the way. I hope you're having a great time, and I hope you enjoy your time here. Coding without code. Yes. Scratch, but more advanced. Yes. Exactly. Okay. So, chat, any more input on the Mather, or should I move on to the next group? The next there's eight factions total right now. Nice, that sounds more reasonable. Yes, exactly. So we have 8 factions right now, right? We're gonna go. Okay, Suba, thanks for dropping by. I hope you have a great day. We're gonna go into the other slaughter faction. This one is as far as like the aesthetic or the vibe that we're going for, let's think medieval Europe. Maybe some flexive Italian influence in there, you know? So, you know, they might be like a pizza pie, mamma mia. But no, they're gonna be devils or demons, right? You know, they're I mean, they're also a slaughter faction, so their whole thing is they're gonna fucking murder people, right? Demonic Italians, exactly. But as far as these guys are concerned, they're called the Obsul, right? Again, every name that I do is gonna be like a play off of some sort of word, maybe a word from another language, maybe something along those lines. Bye, I need to sleep. Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate you coming by. I just saw your message. I hope you have a good one. Be safe. Okay. So, I was struggling to figure out like what's their pro and what's their con, right? Because like the Mather can't engage in diplomacy. The zombies, they can't interact with people, right? They are the only faction that isn't going to be majorly focused on diplomacy. So, like, or maybe not engage in diplomacy until they get the radio. And I'm using radio in quotes because I don't know if that's what we're gonna call it. The radio tech, right? So, chat, what are some pros and cons that we could give them, right? Suck! Dracula don't suck! Dracula scrape and lick. Blah, blah, blah. Scrape and lick. Blah, blah, blah. Batty, no! I need you for ideas. I need your succulent brain for idea, Batty. No, let me see. What else we got? I'm trying to think. Maybe scrape and lick. Blah, blah, blah. You know what? I'll just go through them real quick. I'll go through them and then we'll come back and start thinking of like the in-depth information for these guys. Okay. So those are the two slaughter factions, right? Each faction should have its own sound effect when they communicate to you in the radio. Sure, I feel like that wouldn't be too crazy to do. Zombie is Barkablah. I know nothing about Civilization or this genre of game. I feel my input is nil. No, not at all. For example, hold on. Let me go through the rest of the factions. Let me explain the rest of them real quick. All right. We're gonna have so conviction is the diplomatic win condition, right? Conviction, I have an interesting idea for how that's gonna work, but I'm just gonna go over the factions that win through diplomacy. Like that's their main thing is diplomacy. It's their major diplomacy is going to be involved in almost all things, but they need it to win. Okay. So there is the Shuket, which is a play on what's the word? It's a Japanese word. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. But basically it means bleeding. They're vampires. We're gonna have Japanese vampires in the game. I felt like having that in there. But yeah, so they basically win through diplomacy and interacting with others. I mean, fuck, they've been around for so long, they better learn how to talk to people. They better have learned how. So, a Japanese vampire one. The other one, I've been on a kick of learning about the Aztec and Mayan empires, or civilizations, and there's this guy who learned how to communicate, or he figured out their communication system, that where they would use ropes with certain knots tied into them at different lengths and different, it's super cool. He did it through like a summer where he was, not in college. Anyway, like he uncovered the whole thing. Vampire sound effects could be a laugh. Yeah, exactly. um so yeah, a Japanese inspired like vampire faction, and then an Aztec inspired cult faction that also can win through diplomatic means, um or conviction in this case, right? And they are called the Zolreth, and that's just through some, again, everything. I don't have to explain myself anymore. Everything's through fucking wordplay of some sort. So they're gonna be the Zolreth. So the Aztec faction is the Zolreth. The Japanese faction of vampires are the Shuket. All right. Does everything sound good there? Everything sound good there? Um. And again, like some of these concepts I talked to for the factions, I talked to a few friends of mine like forever ago. The game was going to be almost entirely different back when I was initially thinking about it. This was like maybe 6+ months ago. All right. So you have the Crimson win condition, which is, Crimson is like gold, right? It's the economic win condition. So you could have like Old Norse. That's what we were thinking. We were thinking werewolves, and when I was thinking werewolves, I immediately was pulled to 300 for some reason initially, but then my brain immediately went to, fuck. There was this movie I watched while I was in the Navy, where in the very beginning of the film, there was this like Viking guy or whatever, who like him and his clan did like shrooms, and then next thing you know, they're raiding a whole fucking village, like, and they're like fucking savages, and they had like wolf skins and stuff on them. So I was just like, yo, let's give it like an Old Norse theme. So Old Nordic like werewolves is what I was thinking of. 300 with the spray on abs. Exactly. Oh man. But yeah. So, I was thinking about having them. The Vikings should be able to Fus Ro Dah just like in Skyrim. You know what? We'll put that in the notes. Maybe that's something we add. So their faction is called the Ulfar. So Ulfur. So Ulfar can Fus Ro Dah. What would that do? Would it just push that's unrelenting force. So what, it pushes something away from them? It pushes like a unit away from them. Push units away from them. Like 3 tiles? Question mark. That way I know that's is that like their power? That's their thing, is that they push people around? If they get swarmed, they're fucked. Okay. So we have them. Their whole point in winning is collecting money, like tribute, and that's how they get their economic win condition. The next one. Now, I'm half Irish. I wanted there to be a ghost faction, and originally I was gonna make it like yokai and have them be the Japanese faction. But then I thought about it, and I was like, bro, when people in the Catholic religion, or at least I don't know if they still do it, but in Ireland, when somebody died, you'd put pennies on their eyes to be able to pay for the passage to the afterlife, right? Why not have the ghost faction be Irish? So these guys are going to be called the Cairn, which a cairn, if you don't know what a cairn is, it's like a building. I think it's made of stones and stuff, and it's like a grave marker basically, if I remember correctly. And it's you know, it's supposed to be a place where you could put like money and stuff, and helps, you know, yeah. So there's like an association of money there. So yeah, so it's gonna be a ghost faction, which is kind of like Ireland pilled, and it's gonna be also like its win condition is also going to be economic. And to be fair, it's not necessary. Any of the win conditions that I'm explaining, that's not how they have to win. It's just like that's what they're geared for, you know? Like that's what their stats are like built for. Top of the morning, laddie, I'm a ghost. But do those sound fine? Those two factions sound fine, right? Yes? Yes, no? No, yes? Okay. Alright, well then we're going to move on. The next group of factions is going to be research. They're going to be more geared towards scientific win conditions. So we've got two. The first one is going to be the Logara. They are going to be an android civilization. They are going to be, of course, geared towards research and stuff like that. I was thinking, I would like to flesh them out a bit more. Initially, I was going to have them be a warring faction. But it just made sense to have them be like a research or scientific faction. And I was gonna make them a warring faction because a buddy of mine, Dark Owl, he has like his OC is like an android character who has like a battle axe and stuff. And you know, they're all like knights and stuff. I was thinking like an android knight civilization, but we already have like a medieval, right? We already have like a medieval civ, and I actually like the idea for them a lot. So like I don't know, we could maybe flesh out the android civilization a little bit more, but yeah, they're smart, they're very smart, and I'm not. So any ideas I am open to for them? Aha, here we go. So the final faction and the second one for the research win condition, maybe the androids think of themselves as gods. Oh, okay. Maybe. How often do you guys think of the Roman Empire? How often? I'm thinking they're gonna be Roman pilled. They're gonna have a Roman aesthetic. Roman robots, yes! Some Romebots! The Romebots! The Romebots! Yes, the Roman bots. Yeah, okay, we've got that figured out. We've got it figured out. Okay. Now, shut the fuck up. What did I do, Batty? What did I do? The Roomba. the Logara. All right, for the final faction and the second scientific win condition group, I was thinking a stranded alien race. The Rombots, more interesting than the Roman Empire. Yes, yes. But I was thinking a stranded alien race. But I was thinking, and the only thing I could think of, for some reason I kept thinking about fucking Area 51. So I made the name the Ara, or the Era. You can call it however you want. I think it'd be funny to hear people call them the Ara, right? The Era, AERA, and then NA, because those are the Greek symbols for 51. So the Erana, right? That's what I was thinking. I thought that was clever. If you don't like it, fuck you. I'm kidding. But yeah, so they'd be like a stranded alien race. I was thinking, as far as their aesthetic, I like the idea of like a retro 1920s aesthetic for them. You are evil? I know. I am evil, bro. I am. I'm so evil. But yeah, I was thinking a retro 1920s like science aesthetic for them. That could be so cool. I think that'd be super cool. And maybe they have like a bit of like maybe the way they look is a bit like unknown from Dead by Daylight. Like maybe they just look off, you know? Like they're trying to fit in, but they don't really fit in, you know? And okay. So you guys are aware. So you're aware. All of these factions are like some sort of monster or something like that, right? That's because the barbarians are all going to be humans. They are going to be the minor faction. And the humans are honestly just there to kind of get shit on by all these different creatures and factions and stuff. The humans are like scattered survivors. Their civilization no longer really exists for them. It's kind of they're broken apart. So their faction is called the Shards, because they're shards. They're broken shards of. I was thinking glass or like gem, but like they're broken shards. So they're gonna have outposts spread around the map, and basically their whole job is to try and attack exactly the same as like in Civilization or Endless Legend. There's a minor faction or like a small camp or outpost where they go around and they fuck your shit up. That's the whole point of them. They're just to fuck your shit up, so you're not only fighting against everybody else on the map. And that's where I was thinking the Twitch integration could be put into place in the future, where Twitch can decide like how the shard camps like maybe what their focus is, or and maybe it could be randomly generated how like what they are going to focus on. But I think that maybe having an outside influence who can control those, that would be pretty cool. I think that'd be pretty awesome. So mention a DLC that lets you play as them and retake the land. That could be cool. That could be cool. Let's write that down. Maybe human DLC. Human faction DLC. I'm kidding. I mean that'd be much later, right? But that could be cool. All right. So those are all of the factions. Would anybody be interested in helping me flesh out their backstory? Is there any faction that spoke to you? Like, if this were a game and it were in front of you right now, if you were presented with this on a platter in front of you to play right now, which faction do you think you would play as? Like, which one caught your eye the most? The Ulfur. Okay, okay. Batty, I'm calling you out. I want your opinion, Batty. Bats. The bats. Wow. Wow, Batty. Wow. Wow. So mad at Batty. Everybody say boo, Batty. Boo. Boo, Batty. Boo, Batty. Yes. More booze. More booze for Batty. More booze for Batty. My writing skills failed me, so backstory is not something I'm good at. No. I was asking what faction caught your eye more than any of them? Boo me. Oh man. What it, like if you again, I'll pose this again. If this was already a game and it was presented to you right in front of you for you to play, which faction would you choose? The Irish? Okay, so you'd play as the Cairn, the Irish ghost. In the pre-era times before men were strewn across the land, there was the Hjal. They were the leaders of men, but they were cursed to become werewolves. Hjal. Did you spell that right, or am I reading that wrong? I like the Hjal. Okay, hold on. Backstories for factions. Let's get in there. Let's start doing it. I thought of a Nordic sounding name. Oh, okay. Like 66.7% of them. I like the fantasy stuff. I didn't hear the rest of the stuff because of an ad. Batty, you suck. You suck. I'm kidding. I love you. Okay. So, I'll just go over them real quick for you and real short, Batty. We have the Mather, which are like the zombie hive mind, right? They have kind of like voodoo, Louisiana style, French Haitian aesthetics. The Absol, they are the medieval European like devil demon group, right? We have the Shuket. They are like a Japanese like inspired vampire faction. You have the Zolreth, which are an Aztec inspired cultist faction. The Ulfur, which are kind of like old Norse or like Norse werewolves basically. The Cairn, which are like Irish ghost. They're more economic based. You have the Logara, which are an android civ. They I think what did we decide? We decided like a Roman aesthetic for them. And then we have the Erana, which are like a stranded alien race, and they have like a retro 1920s aesthetic. So what do you think? Which one do you think, if you had these guys on a roster in front of you to pick, which one are you picking? Interesting, Goot. Interesting. I'm creating so much lore. Sure, I'm down for it. If you guys want to help with lore, that's what we're doing right now. We're creating backstory, and we can flesh it out. We can change it, whatever we want to do, you know. Divided among the Vampanese and the Nordic werewolves and the Irish ghost. Well, then let's pick one. You gotta pick one. Only one. Hold on. Working on stuff. Unironically, the only one of those I'm not related to is the Japanese vampires. Well, let's see. So, right now we have the 8 factions. You guys all know what they are. Let's start coming up with some basic backgrounds for them. Batty, what would you say the background of the Japanese vampire are? What's the Irish Ghost Society like again? So their whole thing is economic. They have they're gonna have stat buffs that assist in helping them get more money to complete their win conditions. And that's because, you know, the reason I called them the Cairn. The Cairn are hold on, one second. I'm just gonna give you the definition. What is a cairn? A cairn is a human-made, purposefully constructed stack or mound of stones used historically as multiple different things. It could be like navigation markers, trail guides, landmarks, or in this case, a memorial. A cairn is a word for a heap of stones, but a lot of times people would put money on the cairn, and then just like in Catholic belief from Ireland, right, putting coins on the eyes to pay for the travel, you know, when it comes to the River Styx, then you know that, yeah. So ghostly leprechauns, yeah, basically with big pots of gold. Basically. The Cairn are said to be from another realm. They appear out of nowhere with 2 coins in their hands. They talk of another realm and how sad they are to be here. But they realize they must make this world better. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. It's an interesting idea, Goot. They call me they call me Larry Two Pennies. Wait, no, they call me Patrick Two Pennies. Why do they call you Patrick Two Pennies? Because I got 2 pennies. What do you do with the 2 pennies? I keep them in my hands. Why do you keep them in your hands? The added weight when I punch you in your face. May they have some estate with the afterlife, like building economic wealth by making sure you get a good passing or something. That could be interesting. That could be very interesting. Let's see. Hold on. The Cairn. Elaborate on that a little bit. I'm actually interested in that, Batty. What do you give me a little bit? The Cairn are just dead Irish Catholics. Yeah, basically. Oh man. Oh, that's funny. Dead Irish Catholic. But yeah, Batty, expand on that a little bit, because I think some of it went over my head a little bit. Maybe they have some estate with the afterlife, like building economic wealth by making sure you get a good passing or something. Afterlife insurance. Maybe the Cairn get a buff that they can give to people, and when their people die, or like the buff, the people that they're friendly with, and they give the buff to. Any of their people that die, the group who gets the buff, any of their people who die, maybe they get profit off of that. So that could be like a good way to deceive people, like, hey, I'm gonna give you a boon, and that gives you like passive gold, right? But every time that they have a unit that dies, then they get, like, you get more gold. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Maybe that could be like their because there's like pros and cons for each faction. Maybe that could be it. Maybe they have a boon that they can apply to people. And then you can profit off of war. The Cairn could profit off of war. Yeah, it's a profit to make sure you get a quality afterlife. Yes, that would be Ghost Morphins. Oh my god, a citizen going to a good afterlife could improve morale in another kingdom and make them more willing to trade and ally. Ooh, yeah. So that way the group that is receiving the boon also has a reason to stay allied, you know? Okay, so how would we describe that? Maybe change the name. I keep thinking you are saying Karen. No. I like the Cairn. The Cairn. It's just because you don't know what a Cairn is, John. I swear. It's okay. Okay, so Cairn get a boon that they can give to people, and it gives Karen Ghost, I'll pay you extra to avoid hell. And it gives Karen get a boon that they can give to people, and it gives the Cairn a base level of gold. The receiving faction gets improved morale, and let's say improved morale and maybe production, so like manufacturing, so they can build things better, and maybe manufacturing. When the receiving faction loses an offensive unit, the Cairn get gold. Extra gold payout. Okay. All right, I haven't been looking at chat for a second. That'll be half of your life's fortune every month or else. If your citizens don't die in a good way, your citizens could get sadder, making them not want to join the military. Oh, okay. And, you know, I was thinking about having, like, a religious aspect to it as well. Like, maybe you have to spread your religion. That would make sense. You know? Like a belief system that you could spread. But I do want to make it to where your belief system should, like, it won't be like a religion. It'll just work like the way Civ's religion system works, I think. Or, like, inspired by it anyway. But the belief system itself, I think, should be able to be used for more than just, like, spreading an ideal, right? Holy shit, you're making Spore City Stage 2. Oh, man. But, like, for example, the Mather can't even have diplomacy. So what if they can make a, what if they have a belief system that solely focuses on warmongering, basically, you know? Hold on. I mean, you'd have to choose to like, you know, spec into the belief side, but you know, trade routes would be good. Oh yeah, we're gonna have trade routes regardless. Imagine being haunted like owing debt from a loan. There should be a main commodity like gold. Well, that's what Crimson is. I don't know if you remember earlier, but Crimson is what gold is in this world. Like, it's an ore that is broken down and refined, and it is when it's refined, it's sculpted into tiny orbs, and the tiny orb is it's a deep crimson red, and that's what gold is gonna be. That's what gold is gonna be. It's gonna be a little red orb. That's cool. I know. I know. Sorry, I'm typing. Okay. Now, we have some ideas for the backstory. Maybe it could be super fragile. If you take a bumpy route to deliver it, some of it could shatter. I don't know. That's something. It sounds cool, but I don't know if I want to have something like that in the game, because there's going to be so many other aspects. And if you were just like traveling and you lost gold because like a trade route was sacked by another faction, that's one thing. But if you just randomly fucking like your gold just shatters and it's gone, then that sucks, you know? Yo, Hypercam, welcome to the stream. Does somebody want to get Hypercam brought up to speed? If somebody wants to do that, that would be great. I would love you forever. Okay. All right. So, what do we got here? Okay. There should be thieves on the streets if you travel in non-safe areas. Games making a game about cat racing? Hell yeah, no. No. That's not what's happening. You've been deceived, Hypercam. You've been deceived. But, okay. So we have a brief idea for the background for the Mather, the Ulthar, and the Cairn. We have, hold on, let's see. Powers. The balancing of powers and stuff is gonna have to, it's gonna be something that's gonna be a pain in the ass. I can tell. Hold on. Okay. So as far as the powers that we have right now, I feel like they could be straight to running ashtray. The Ulfr could use the power of the voice. Well, yeah, so okay. We have all right. So the powers that we have set up right now. The Cairn get a boon that they can give to people. This is like their power. They're like faction power, right? Their faction ability. The Cairn get a boon that they can give to people, and it gives the Cairn a base level of gold per turn. Per turn applied. The receiving faction in turn gets improved morale and maybe manufacturing for production. I think that would be a good idea. When the receiving faction loses a unit in battle, the Cairn get an extra gold payout. Well, ghostly luck of the Irish, of course. Okay. So we're everything sounds good for that, right? I think so. What do we think? Yes, no? Okay. Luck of the Clover. Yes. Maybe that's what it can be called. Luck of the Clover. That's what the ability is called. All right. So now the Mather, which again, that is the zombie faction that has kind of like a Louisiana voodoo style vibe, right? The Mather can not engage in diplomacy until they get the radio tech, right? So if they come across people, so early game, they're kind of just fucked. Like they can't really deceive people. They can't do anything. They like their whole thing is warmongering. They are there to destroy, build, destroy. But yes, so the Mather cannot engage in diplomacy until they get the radio tech, which also implies that they need the they will be able to translate at that point too. You know what? It's not even radio. We're just gonna call it the auto translator, and that's what you're gonna use to interact with other factions. The caveat to this, all right. So even though they can't really engage in diplomacy for a vast majority of the game, they can create more units by killing other units. The units that they create are just units that are taken over from other factions. But when they do that, they're a tier lower, so they don't have the full strength of the OG. How do we feel about that one? How do we feel about the Mather? With that aspect. Sounds good. Okay. What could we name that, right? So like the Cairn, their faction ability is called the Luck of the Clover. What about the Mather? Batty, you got anything witty? You got anything witty over there for an undead ability name? The Mather cannot engage in diplomacy until they get the auto translator tech. The caveat to this is that they can create units by killing other units. The unit that gets taken over is a tier lower for balance. The units do not have the full OG strength. Horde Rush, maybe. That's a good start. Batty, I'm including you, Batty, because I want you involved. You have no choice in the matter. You will be destroyed if you decide not to. Just saying. No mercy. No mercy at all. Day of the Dead. Oh, that's actually that's an interesting one. It would be better. I feel like Day of the Dead would be really good if they had more of like a South American aspect, but maybe the Aztec could have something similar, right? This sounds cooler though. Sari, welcome to the stream. We're making a game. We're talking over some stuff. You can feel free to hop in whenever you so choose. Same thing with you, Hypercam. You can decide to hop in with whatever you think sounds cool. Dia de Muertos. Maybe that's let's hold on to that. Maybe that's something that we can use for the cult, because like we have an Aztec or Mayan cult that might be good for it. What's it gonna be about? There's so much information that we've gone over. Could somebody kind of like throw up just like somebody give out like some sort of summary? can't give my input on anything unless I know what the game's actually going to be about. Okay. All right. We have new people in chat. Chat, help me out. The people who have been there, kind of help me out with this. What are some hive mind terms? I have no idea, actually. Not off the top of my head. Type of game. Okay, so this is gonna be a Civ-like. So imagine Civilization or Endless Legend, right? Fuck. Hold on. Let me go back to my notes. Keenan, I got one question. What's up, Siri? What is their faction ability again? I'll go over it in just a second. Okay. So this is going to be a turn-based strategy game. It's going to be inspired by Civ or Endless Legend, but you're going to be in a room. You're going to be in like a war room, like a bunker or something like that. And basically you're going to be walking around. It's going to be super focused on diplomacy and actually interacting with other people. Will I ever be mod? Like, not now, but actually, Sari, you may very well become a mod. Trust. I need more mods. Give it some time and you may very well become a mod. There's like 2 of them here, I think. 2 or 3. But okay, so the player is going to be in like a room in first person point of view, and there's like a table in the middle of the room that is like a it's like a war table. That's where the map is going to be. That's where you have most of the game information, right? There'll be a screen off to the side where it has like a lot of the basic information that you need just at a glance. But yes. So right now, what we have decided to do is let me give you some information on like what is involved real quick. Yeah, so we have 8 factions. I'm going to go over them real quick. Everybody pay attention. We have the Mather, which are a kind of like a zombie undead flesh hive mind that have like Louisiana style, maybe some like French Haitian voodoo aspects to their aesthetic. The Obsul. The Obsul are the medieval European devil or demons. They're going to have, you know, that medieval kind of vibe, so like maybe like old medieval, you know, like you know, dirty dingy kind of vibe. We have the Shuket. They are a race of vampire. They're like a vampire race. They have like Japanese inspired aesthetic to them. They're very Japan coded. We have the Zolreth, which are an Aztec or Mayan inspired cultist guild, or cultist group. We have the Ulfr, which are like old Norse werewolves, basically. We have the Cairn, which are Luck of the Irish ghost and spirits. We have the Logara, which are like an android civilization. They have, they're gonna be like a Roman kind of vibe. And then we have the Erana, which are the stranded alien race. They have kind of like a retro 1920s science aesthetic to them. So just to get you all caught up to speed, that's what we're at right now. Right now we're picking powers and abilities for each faction, and we are also setting up the backstories for each faction. So back to what Batty was saying. What is their faction ability again? The Mather, they cannot engage in diplomacy until mid to late game with the auto translator tech. Meaning that they're not able to communicate with anybody in any aspect. They don't read notes. They don't get notes from people. You can't send them notes until they get the auto translator tech, which then allows them to be able to interact. So guys, just so you know, diplomacy in this game is going to work differently than Civ does, right? Diplomacy is going to be through a VoIP a VoIP process. So you'll be able to use your mic to talk to other groups, but you can't talk to people unless you learn their language or learn how to interact with them. And then that opens up the entire world of how you can communicate with people and how the game then becomes like living and breathing, right? So all of that said, Delay of the Dead, that could be a good one. I actually kind of like that, Batty. How about no delaying the dead? Because, like, the dead may, the hive mind may be delayed on the ability to interact, but you can't delay their growth. You know? Does that make sense? What do you guys think? If you need words for a hive mind, what about gestalt? That's a good word. That's a really good word. What do we think, guys? Chat, what do we think about no delaying the dead? We're thinking of the name for this ability. The Mather cannot engage in diplomacy until the auto-translator tech is researched. The caveat to this is that they can create units by killing other units. That unit that gets killed then gets taken over and is a tier lower for balance. And that also means that the units do not have the full strength of the OG unit, but, you know, that's still another unit, right? So it spreads. They can get more units. What do we think about that? Are we liking no delaying the dead? What are we thinking? I fuck with it. Okay. We've got one yay. What else are we thinking, guys? What does the ability do, though? Okay. We're not decided. Okay. So we've already... that is the ability. The zombie hive mind group... I'll just repeat it again. The Mather cannot engage in diplomacy until they get the auto-translator tech. The caveat to that is that they can create units by killing other units. The unit that gets taken over is a tier lower for balance, and the units that are taken over do not have the full strength of the OG unit. What do we think about that? Does no delaying the dead fit that? Batty, what do you think? Because you're the one that brought up delay of the dead in the first place. Yay, nay, yes, no. Maybe. I guess we'll use it as a placeholder regardless, though. Let's just use delay of the dead. All right. Now the real question is Goot still here? Goot? Trying to think up no interaction at first, but growing forces in the meantime. Yes. Well, then we'll move on to the next one. Goot, are you here? Hypercam and Sari, based off of the factions that I've explained, which one stuck out the most to you guys? Like, let's say this was a game that was put in front of you today, fully built and everything, fully functioning. Which one of those factions that I expressed to you guys, which one would you pick? What is your pick? Add a mechanic so that you need to replace the oxygen tank every 5 minutes, and if you forget to do it, your screen will start to count down 30 seconds before eventually dying. What? Also, you need to find them around the map. What? Sari, what? I think that might be a completely different game, my guy. Bro's making a completely different game. That's insane. That's insane. Wait, ticket. Oh my god. Hey man, what kind of game are you making? Welcome, High Spoon. Also, it's rare that I see people on the YouTube side. Thanks for dropping by. We're making like a Civ-like, basically. Right now, so we've already made the factions. There's a big difference. It's not going to run exactly like Civ, of course, in any aspect, really, other than just like the fact that there's a bunch of people in a map that are fighting. But so you can't stay AFK for too long? No, these games are something where you're sitting down for a while. A Civ-like game is something where you're sitting down for a while, playing with friends or people that you know for a good bit, so you're actively engaged at all times. But yeah, so this we've already kind of like decided the factions and stuff. There's 8 of them to start. We are right now kind of figuring out backstories, but we're taking a moment to figure out their abilities. Each faction is going to have their own ability. There is a ghost. There's like an Irish Luck of the Irish ghost faction, basically. They're gonna have an ability that's called Luck of the Clover. They're called the Cairn, and the Cairn get a boon that they can give to people, right? They can give it to people, and it gives the Cairn a base level of gold per turn applied. But, and I should change that to crimson because gold is crimson in this universe. So, crimson per turn applied. The receiving faction then gets improved morale and maybe manufacturing. When the receiving faction loses an offensive unit, the Cairn get extra gold payout. Yo, wait a second, bro. The plays that could be made if you're playing as the Cairn, guys. Like, let's say the Mather is warring against a nation, right? A faction, and you happen to know the faction that they're going to war with. So you tell them, hey, I'm gonna give you a boon so that way you can build more units as quickly as possible. But in reality, you're making money off of the war itself, because you know that the dead, or that the Mather are going to be killing their units. So you're just passively making extra gold off of each of their units' deaths. That's such a crazy play. Add an NPC that's a job application. It will show a list of jobs and their pay. What? No. Sari, I don't think I've absolutely shot down an idea in this stream just yet, but I think it's happening. Sari, what are you doing? Bro's thinking about Dead by Daylight. No! Oh my god. Necrosis with a process. Best I can think of. Well, I did keep your Delay of the Dead. I think that is fitting. I think that's actually really fitting. It gets the Day of the Dead aspect. It applies to the zombie faction, the zombie hive mind faction. It has alliteration. It's nice. I think it's good. Okay. So we have Delay of the Dead. Bro played too much Michaela Reed with the boon perks. Yeah, sure. Okay, Goot, I need you to say if you're here or not, because now we're gonna work on your faction, the Ulfr. So the Ulfr, they are the Old Norse werewolves, right? Old Norse werewolves, like berserker style, right? But they are focused more on economics. They collect money. I don't know if it could be like through raiding or maybe like aggressive tactics or what it could be. We should really figure out what their thing is. But the Ulfr, something that somebody mentioned earlier, they can do a quote-unquote Fusroda, right? To push units away from them, like 3 tiles. So maybe they're just like the I can't let you get close faction, you know? My brain likes alliteration and rhymes, half rhymes, so it'll do that at its own detriment. Yeah. It's fine. I get it. I like alliteration too. But like, what's the point of the Ulfer being able to Fusro Da people and push them back. Like that, there's no real point to it. So, what is their power going to be? They focus more on money. I've been here. I've just been staring at the spear. Oh, Goot, Goot, you're goofy as hell, bro. Oh my god. All right. Oof. All right. So what are we thinking? Because I only have a little bit longer. I'm about to get off stream. But Goot, you said that the Ulfer called to you the most initially. So the spear is too perfect. You know what? You know what? Hold on. Wait a second. There you go. Claw the enemy is apart. Well, you got to remember, they are an economic faction. So how do we tie that in? Like, yeah, they can fight people. Sure, they can use their claws. Absorb their spirit to make the unit that did it stronger. Yeah, but they're not a warmongering. Yeah, they're not a warmongering faction. Like, sure, they can defend themselves. Yeah, they'll be able to be in combat. But, you know, you know, that's what I'm trying to figure out. How can we tie their economic system into it? Use the power of the voice to convince anyone to trade with them. Ah, interesting. Like, let me make you an offer that you can't refuse. I see. Hold on, let me think. So if they... Huh. Even if it's one fish for 5 billion crimson? No, that'd be crazy. So let's see. Only can use it once. Persuasive animal. That could be a good... That could be a good one. But it can't be forcing a trade, right? Would it be forcing trades? What would that even look like? And it would have to be something that's so low stakes that it's just like, ah, fuck. But, you know, if it can only be used once, that would mean that their ability can only be used once in a match. That would be crazy. Persuasion? Maybe... Well, there's got to be a caveat, right? So, like, maybe every now and then you can force somebody into a trade. But it's like, what is something that doesn't make it too overpowered, right? Like, you could force somebody to trade with you, but like, what does that look like? How much can you take? And there's got to be some sort of reward to it, right? Because then maybe some sort of reward. They offer you a deal you literally can't refuse. The refuse trade button is on your trading menu is clawed up. That could be cool. Yes. Persuasion check eats dice. I win. That's a good one. I like this idea. We just gotta... Oh, what the fuck? My phone's going off. We just gotta flesh it out a bit more. I can also... you could always be a D... It could always be a D20 in your stomach. Ah, yes. Hold on. What is the name of this going to be? So you said persuasive animal. What else can we play it off of? Like, how can we put the offer you can't refuse? Like what? Fuck. What do we call it? Voice of reason. What do wolves do? They howl, they growl, they snarl, they intimidate, they and won't you shake an old sinner's hand? Oh my god, yes. Intimidating offer. Yeah. Batty, what do you think about that one? What do you think about intimidating offer? I'll use it as a placeholder. Won't you shake a poor old sinner's hand? Ulfr can make an offer that can't be refused. In parentheses, maybe like compulsion of the pack. Oh, yeah, I got my vote. Oh, okay. I do like compulsion of the pack too. Like, it's all everybody, dude. It's oops all bangers. All right. So like whatever we think we like the most, we can just move forward with that. Can make an offer that can't be refused. Refuse offer option is clawed out. Should only be available. Maybe you could just like steal shit from people. Like if somebody, I do want to make knowledge, as far as like research important too, right? So maybe you can like just steal one thing. Maybe not even just gold. Maybe you can just steal people's research, or you can steal people's like strategic resources or luxury resources. Like maybe you can just steal shit. Or if you want to steal gold based on how far along the game is, you could, or like, no, I don't think you should be able to just steal gold. I don't think you should just be able to do that. Or at least if you do, it'd have to be only like 100 or so. Or it'd have to be like a predetermined amount. All the power names should be like 3 words at most. Yeah, I could see that. I give you 1 fish. I get tanks. Oh man. Oh man. Oh. Maybe the Fus Ro Dah isn't called Fus Ro Dah. Maybe we're just gonna, maybe we'll just call it intimidate. Can also intimidate Fus Ro Dah, to push units away 3 tiles, making them retreat. That's what it'll be. They maybe they retreat. Okay, so they retreat 3 tiles away. Maybe 2 tiles away. Or 1? Yeah, let's just do 1. Because when I think about a game like this, the tiles take a long time to navigate through. Intimidating exchange? Maybe. Yeah. I like intimidating exchange. Dude, the fucking... the Ulfr are just like a fucking... a Norse mafia. A Norse werewolf mafia. We're gonna have to make you an offer that you can't refuse. And then they can just intimidate everybody. Uh... Maybe the aliens would be more trusting of them because they're like 1920s. Yeah, in fact, let's get to them real quick. So they are the Era Na. Which looks like this. I'll put this in chat so you can see it. The Era Na. Yeah, that's what I look. I would love to see people going. They're the Ara. Well, like, so as far as like their aesthetic and the way they look, it's gonna be a retro 1920s aesthetic. That I'm picturing in my head something along the lines of like the unknown, right? The concept of the unknown from Dead by Daylight, right? Or like the alternates, or is that what they're called? The alternates from that one YouTube series. You know, I'm thinking like they are uncanny. They don't look like people, but they are like clearly they landed here sometime around the 1920s. But so they are a research group. Their entire thing is researching stuff. So the Era, not really long heads, yeah, like weird body proportions. So what do the Era Na, what can they do? Because they are researching. They are a researching group. So maybe something about integration. Could they maybe integrate into other see, I'm just gonna put this as a placeholder. Seamless integration, maybe? Because if they look like people, but you can't quite tell that they're not people, right? Maybe they're kind of like shapeshifters. Maybe they look like humans, kind of, right? Like the alternate kind of human vibe, but maybe they can actually just shapeshift. So maybe they can seamlessly integrate with other factions without them knowing. So maybe by default, they can just spy on people. Maybe? Like, all factions should be able to spy on people. But what if the Era Na are able to just do that from the get-go? What do we think? And maybe when you're spying on people, maybe when they are researching things, you steal some of that knowledge for yourself. Not all of it, but it gives you a little bit of a buff to your research progress for whatever they're researching. But maybe you can only target like one faction at a time, you know? while doing so, some research progress off of the target faction. Okay, so here's how I have this written out. The Erana are capable of sending a shapeshifter to another faction and spying on them. While doing so, they can piggyback some research progress off of the target faction. Could we expand on this more? Like what do we think? Could there be more to this? Could it also help the target faction's research move a little bit faster, maybe? Like not by a whole bunch, but even marginally? And it's not like whenever somebody completes research that they just suddenly, you know, the Erana just suddenly have that research, you know? They alien espionage, interesting. Yes. See, baddie? See? Seamless integration. Wait, what did I just say? Maybe the target faction gets a minor boost to researching. Okay. All right. So let's see. I have a little bit longer. I probably have enough time to maybe flesh out one more. All right. So we have the Logara, the android civilization that needs to be worked out. They are also research based. We have the Abyssal, which are the medieval European devil demon group that are focused on slaughter win conditions. We have the Shuket, which are the diplomatic Japanese vampire faction. And we have the Zolreth, which are the diplomatic Aztec cult group as well. So which one, this will be the last one that we work on today for the powers and stuff. But what do we think? Which one do we want to do? The Logara, the Zolreth, the Shuket, or the Abyssal? Or the Obsal. Abyssal, Obsal, you can say it however you want. Android? Okay. We've got one for Android. One for Vampire. Goot. Batty. What say you? Okay. I guess we're doing the Android. So, Logara? I don't know, which we looking at? That's what I'm saying. Like, which one are we going to do? Are we going to do the Logara, which are the androids, the Zolreth, which are the Aztec cultists, the Shuket, which are the Japanese vampires, or the Obsal, which are the medieval devil demons? Which one we thinking? This will be the last one that we work on today. We'll come back and work on some more tomorrow. Oh, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go to work, bro. I really don't. Sure, Rombots. Okay, so the Roman androids. They also focus on scientific. Maybe they could have like a religious aspect as well. I'm not sure. Every single one of these can have a religion. Every single one of these factions can have not a religious, but like a belief aspect to it. So what are we thinking? The androids are supposed to excel at research conditions. The Roman androids. Let's see. Oh my god, I got hiccups. Oh my god, help. I was dying. All right. So let's think about this. Should they just be faster at researching? No, that's boring. Maybe they're like, they think of themselves as gods, right? Maybe their goal is to meet their gods, right? Like maybe they're the last. Maybe like, hold on, we're getting into backstory shit then. Okay, hold on, wait a second. The Logara. Humans and the Logara started to they had a war. Like after fought with each other after the Logara realized that the gods are not intangible beings, but instead ascendant clouds of knowledge and wish knowledge. They wish to advance and join the pantheon in the cloud. They worship a hard drive. That's good. Yes, they are gods in the cloud. Kind of like Avatar and their tree. Ah, you're right. You're so right. But so like the humans made the Logara, and then the Logara fought with them after they found out that they were the only thing in their way of becoming a god, which is they found out that the gods are just, ascendant clouds of knowledge. Pray to thy floppy disk. Oh man. Okay. So now that we have some backstory for the Logara, does that make that easier for us to figure out what their power would be? Huh. Maybe I'm gonna use this as a placeholder. Ascendant tasks. Task. Ascendant task. Like maybe they can multitask. Maybe their thing is multitasking. So like they're androids, right? So maybe they have a focus on machinery. So maybe they have production buffs. Production buffs. No, they have a buff for increased production and research. They another faction can request assistance with production or research, but it will take from the Logara's own buff. So the Logara can basically like multitask, right? So they'll get a buff for increased production and research. Another faction can request assistance with production or research, but it will take it from the Logara's own buff. So they could basically hand out labor on those two on task, but then of course they don't have it for themselves. So but I feel like that could be fleshed out more to be more useful than it just sounds initially. Maybe they start out with a few randomized research. Like they're already completed. Tier 1 to 3. A buff for increased production and research. Maybe also, maybe it has to be like the assistance request has to be through a trade. So that way the Logata can see if they're getting something that they think is worth. Okay. Ascendant task. This is for the Logata. This is their ability. A buff for increased production and research. Another faction can request assistance with production or research through trade, but it will take from the Logata's own buff. So ultimately, the Logata can choose up to 2 people that they can assist at a time. Can choose to assist up to 2 factions. 1 for research and 1 for manufacturing. Boom. I think that sounds good, right? What do we think, guys? What are we thinking on that one? CNC machinery? Yes. Yes. But I think that's as far as we're gonna get today. We've made some good progress. I do want to finish fleshing some of this out, because this will determine like how easy, or not how easy, but how convoluted this gets or not. Like, these are really just things that I think, as far as UI, could be made pretty okay, you know? So terms of service, oh my god, that's such a good one. That's such a good one. What a good job. What a good job, Batty. What a champion. So yeah, we've got the Cairn figured out. We've got the Mather. We've got the Ulfar. We've got the Erana. And we've got the Logata. Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm gonna start winding down. I'm gonna get off stream, go relax for a little bit, and then start getting ready for work. Oh man. Well, if you came by today, thanks for coming to hang out. I love and appreciate you. We've made a lot of progress. We made a lot of progress, and progress is important. But I love and appreciate you guys. I hope you have a good rest of your day and or night wherever you are at. Take it easy. Hope you have a good day. Stay safe, stay alive, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully around 10, unless I don't wake up on time again. Holy John, thank you. Thank you. Speaking of which, if you haven't already, if you have Amazon Prime, you can drop a Prime sub. It's completely free. It's free money for me. That would be amazing. But yeah, you get one for free if you have Amazon Prime. But yeah, everybody, take it easy out there. I'm out. Yeah, stay safe, stay alive. Bye-bye.